I've got a secret for you. Inside every grizzled locker room veteran is a wrestler who wants to feel appreciated, that wants to feel relevant, that wants to go out and steal the show. And today, I'm going to give you 9 hacks to help coax them into putting on their working shoes for you. It's coming up next on Till We Make It. I'm Mike Quackenbush, and this is Till We Make It. If you are passionate about the craft of professional wrestling and you're never done learning all about it, then you've landed in the exact right place. What are you waiting for? Join the Till We Make It tribe. Subscribe right now. That way you never miss a video. Or if you want to take your education to the next level, follow the link down below in the descriptus and join our community over on Patreon. Memberships start for as little as $5 a month, and there you can begin to unlock one of my 513 exclusive posts. That's the actual number as of right now, and there are more being added constantly. I publish a Patreon exclusive video every single Monday that you'll never see here on the channel. Come join our community. We would love to have you. Maybe you found yourself in a situation like this. You are the locker room rookie, and you're going to be working with a locker room vet. But that grumpy old veteran does not want to hear your ideas, does not want to hear what you have to say, is really not that interested in working with you. Well, what are you going to do? I got 9 hacks for you. Ready? Up first, here is how you're going to open the conversation with that grizzled vet. Start by saying, I'm so hyped to be working with you tonight. Start from a place of enthusiasm and look forward to the experience of learning from someone who enjoys veteran status. If you approach this dialogue with nervousness, apprehension, or even reluctance, you're gonna get nowhere. Second, before you start talking about specific moves, before you get handed that line of, hey kid, can you do a crossbody? Think you can manage a sunset flip tonight? Before any of that starts to come up, you're going to say something like this. You must have a tried and true formula that's worked for you throughout the years. Can you explain some of that psychology to me? Make them understand you're interested in learning, but you're also getting them to show you some of their cards. How do they put the match together? How are they expecting to put together the match tonight? And the more readily you can see the ideas that you want to contribute fitting into that formula, the higher the chances of your success. Up third, when you inevitably get asked, so what do you do, kid? You're not going to start by rattling off the moves you are hoping to get into that evening's match. Instead, you need to know what bump you take best, or in an ideal scenario, what your specialty bump is. And if that term is new to you, don't worry, I'm gonna link you to a video all about it at the end of today's episode, so stay tuned for that. But you are going to start that conversation by offering the ways in which you can be in service to the other person, how you can be in service to the veteran. And it sounds something like this. I take an amazing back body drop. If you want to launch me, I'm going to make you look like $1 million. Or I have a fantastic snap bump. You give me a good chop, I'm going to hit that mat so hard and so fast, the crowd is going to lose their minds. Show the veteran that you are showing up as much in service to them as you are to yourself. This next one requires a little homework on your part, so listen carefully. Before the match comes around, you're going to study some of the most acclaimed matches of that veteran you're going to be sharing the ring with. And you want to make sure you take note of specifics. Here's why. Day of the match, you want to be able to say honestly, hey, I'm a real fan of those matches you had with Funaki or Fit Finlay or Frank Shamrock or Phantasmo or somebody else that starts with F. And then you're going to call out specifics. I loved that spot that you did on this one. I love the way you transitioned from this to that. Excite their memory and imagination, thinking about spots they maybe used to do, but no longer do now. Not only will this make your veteran feel more appreciated, it's going to start to coax them into putting on their working shoes for you. Are you learning something from today's video? Then please leave a like-a-palooza down below. It helps the channel to grow. And thanks for doing that. Okay, so now it's actually time to start working out the specifics of the match. You're going to have to be able to speak the veteran's language, so to speak. And if you're hearing that, you're thinking, what on earth do you mean by that, Mike? I'm going to tell you. That's what these next couple hacks are all about. So, first in this category, do not ask the veteran if they watched Hangman Page's match last night on the pay-per-view. Do not ask them if they got caught up on SmackDown last Friday night. Here's why. Real veterans who've been doing this 15, 20, 25 years, chances are, just by the number of years they've been in the business, are in their late 30s going into their 40s. And by that point in life, they might have all kinds of other responsibilities. They might have a side hustle. They might have a family. They might be married. They have other obligations. And while maybe if you'd caught them 15, 20, 25 years prior, they were all caught up on the latest happenings in the world of wrestling, once adulthood settles in and corrupts your wrestling career, you're not always caught up on all of those things. And you are alienating the person you are trying to work with by asking those types of questions. So avoid those things at all costs. This next one might be the most important one on the entire list, so listen carefully. It really pays dividends. You're going to find out when the veteran you are booked on with debuted through an online resource. Ask around, get that information, and whatever year that was, subtract 2 years. In advance, you know what you're going to do to prepare? You're going to watch the wrestling from 2 years prior to that debut, because this guarantees you're going to be able to speak the same language. I am the perfect example of this. My first match was in May of 1994. You go back 2 years prior to that, back to 1992, and then sit down with me and say, hey, I was just watching Royal Rumble 92. I was just watching WrestleMania 8. What did you think of the Brett and Piper match at 8? Some rookie sits down next to me in the locker room and starts the conversation like that. You know what I'm thinking? We're going to get along great. Okay, so things are going swimmingly, but now you've got to get exact about where the moves are going in the match. At this stage, you are going to avoid referring to moves by their proprietary names. Do you know what I mean by that? Here's an example. If you do the Rainmaker, you're not going to call it the Rainmaker. Okada gets to call it the Rainmaker. That's his proprietary name for it. When you're explaining it to the grizzled vet you're working with, you're going to refer to it by its technical name, and that is a short arm clothesline that comes from a half waist lock. So if you've got to explain that to a veteran, you're not going to use things like Rainmaker. You're not going to say ripcord. What you're going to say is, I'm going to grab a half waist lock, I'm going to unwind it into a short arm clothesline. It's a flat back bump for you. So that when the veteran asks, hey kid, I'm going to take a big bump for you. What do you got? Don't use proprietary names for the moves. Going into the design of the match, you've got to be able to explain your value up front. I'm fast. I have this zany character who behaves in this way. I'm acrobatic. Whatever the value you supply in the ring is, you have to be able to articulate that to the veteran and have a sense of what they do so that you can frame the match before they start to shape it, like this. So my thing is speed, and obviously you've got the size and the experience and the power. How can we tell a story using those things? What do you think we should do? You're going to frame the match for them, but then put them in the driver's seat so they can shape it. And if all else fails, use this old chestnut. Think about how long they have been at this promotion or working in this area and say to them, you've been working in Steubenville, Ohio for the last 13 years. Nobody understands this audience better than you. So what do you and I need to do to steal the show tonight? Put yourselves on the same team. It's the two of you against everybody else on the card, and you want to be the ones to steal the show. This one gets results. I know it firsthand. So let me know, did I miss anything? Drop it down below in the comments for me right now. And as promised, appearing on screen right now is that video about specialty bumps so that you can keep on learning. There is also a link to my Patreon appearing somewhere on screen right now. It looks like a letter P. Big thanks to all of my patrons who make this channel possible. Thanks, guys.